Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a jerk for calling my husband out in front of my friends on planting a recording device while we were having a girls' night in? Do we have to even read this one to know the answer? What do you think? Just give me a guess. What do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
I'm gonna guess not the jerk.
Not the jerk. This just happened last week. I'm a 26-year-old female and my husband a 31-year-old male. I told him that I was planning on having a girls' night in at home, and initially he was like, no, not here. Get a hotel or something. I said I couldn't afford a hotel and there was no need for a hotel. He asked if he could just join us if he's gonna allow it, but I said no, this is not how a girls' night in works. He eventually agreed to let me have it and even said he'd go out so my friends could be comfortable. I invited the girls over and most of them had a lot of heavy venting to do. At some point things got a bit emotionally charged when there was some crying. Lots of it. After that, we brought in the food and drinks. I went to turn on the TV and I spotted a small device tucked to one side. I took a look at it and found that it was actually a voice recording device. I was in disbelief. I knew my husband had put it there to listen into our private conversation, which I felt was highly violating. I feel that way too, OP. I feel that way too. I didn't hide it from the girls. I showed them the device. I called my husband to get him home and confronted him right then and there in front of the girls. The girls were shocked and my husband denied after I flipped out and called him out on it. He then said that he was feeling curious to know what we were talking about and wanted to make sure that we weren't trash talking him specifically. The event was cut short and the girls left. I kept lashing out at him for ruining the night and possibly my relationship and trust with my friends. I said that not only did he violate my privacy, but my friends as well, because they were talking about very personal stuff. He argued that it was no big deal, that I should have just let him join us if we had nothing to hide. Yes, that is exactly the right reasoning here. And that this was on them for opening up about private matters to begin with. Oh my god, this man sounds like a sociopath.
Like, are friends not supposed to talk to each other?
You can't talk to your friends if you can't expect any privacy.
Everything you may say to your friends will be used against you in the court of the husband.
He went on to talk about how I humiliated him and called him out in front of my friends. I told him that they deserved to know who he really was after what he's done. We argued some more and he went out again. We're in conflict today, and I feel like I made a mistake calling him out like that aside from how I feel about it. He claims that my friends will no longer respect him after that. Am I the jerk? Okay, OP. The last thing you need to worry about right now is whether or not your friends will respect him, because he doesn't deserve any respect because of what he did. Like, if you've lost respect for somebody because of their actions, then generally speaking, it's deserved, right? Like, he violated your privacy, he violated their privacy, and this was completely uncalled for. I mean, he's claiming that he was just being curious, but what it sounds like is he just wanted to find out whether or not you were trash talking him. And this was very rude. This was beyond rude for him to do something like this. And you're not the jerk. He is acting very much sleazy, and this, I would say, is even like grounds for a divorce, to be quite honest. Like, this goes beyond just like your, classic disagreement with, a partner here, to the level of this guy has done something pretty terrible, and who's to say he hasn't done it before, right? He didn't just magic this recording device into existence. He has had this recording device for some time, OP. This means that he's been recording you without your knowledge, probably, and you didn't know it. So I would be very, very, very careful about how you approach this relationship from here on out. That's just my 2 cents. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Run. Also, ditch every device you have. Get a techie friend to look over them at least. Divorce him and run, not the jerk. That is my feelings exactly. The real nightshade. This one, if he's planning to bug you at your girl's night out, I would be shocked if he doesn't have some sort of spyware or tracking program set up on your phone and or computer. Yeah. Also, change your passwords and disconnect your account from every device. Speaking of unreasonable people, our next story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Pay My Brother-in-Law for Babysitting My Daughter? I'm a 34-year-old and I have a 5-year-old daughter. My wife is deceased and my in-laws are my only supporters. Well, some days ago I had an appointment with the dentist and the babysitter who was supposed to watch my daughter called and canceled. I didn't know what to do, so I called my brother-in-law, asked if he was willing to watch his niece till I get back from the appointment. He said he wasn't sure since he had a couple of tutoring sessions to get done. I told him to skip and drop my daughter off at his apartment and then left. Alright, so first off, this does not look good on OP, right? He's like, hey, I don't care about your job and your source of income. You need to drop everything that you're doing and watch after my daughter. That's the first thing I'm going to point out here. When I came back to pick her up in the evening, brother-in-law asked me to pay him for watching my daughter for 4 hours. I was taken aback, and I asked if he was serious. He reminded me that he had 2 tutoring sessions which he had to cancel last minute, and since I pushed him to stay with my daughter and watch her, then I needed to pay him. I refused and said that he was being somewhat greedy and opportunistic to even think that sitting his niece would grant him an easy source of money. That's not what happened here. He said that it wasn't easy money, but time wasted in his very busy schedule. We had an argument and I left with my daughter. He called my in-laws who said that he was in the right and that I should have paid him for his time and been appreciative of his efforts. Everyone's telling me I'm in the wrong. I love these stories where the person's like, everyone's telling me I'm wrong, but I want some internet people to tell me I'm wrong as well. I told them that I didn't expect him to ask for money, but they said it's what I do with babysitters. Well, yes, but he's family, and the last thing I expect from him is to ask for money for staying with his niece. Besides that, I had an emergency, and I couldn't miss the appointment knowing how hard it is to get another one. He is still insisting on being paid, but I keep refusing. At this rate, I think he's being ridiculous, but I don't know. It all seems to be a misunderstanding. Say I did pay him. This would set a precedent for him to keep expecting money in the future.
Imagine that. Precedent for babysitters getting paid.
Am I the jerk for not paying him? All right, OP, I think you're acting a little unreasonable here. You asked him to babysit, and you did this last minute. He had to cancel 2 tutoring sessions which he was getting paid for. You need to compensate him for his time. And I'm sure you're not paying him as well as those tutoring sessions would have paid him, right? So in some ways, you're getting a discount anyhow, right? I understand that this is an emergency. I understand that you don't have a huge support system. And I think that that's, a shame, right? But the fact of the matter is that he also has to live. He also needs to be able to support himself. And if he's taking these tutoring gigs, then he needs to be compensated for missing out on these appointments. That's just the way it goes. So I don't think he's acting opportunistic. I think he's acting realistic, and I think you have unrealistic expectations to think that somebody wouldn't want to be paid for their time. So anyhow, take care and good luck. I forced my brother-in-law to cancel 2 tutoring sessions, losing him money to make him watch my child. Then, instead of offering to cover the money he lost, I refused because family equals free labor, even when you inconvenience them. Fixed it for you. Yeah. You're the jerk. If I were him, I would never sit for you again. You forgot to add, my babysitter who I was going to pay canceled. OP, you're the jerk. Anyway, you will regret it. Now your brother-in-law won't be available as a backup in emergencies in the future, and you will be SOL. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for talking back to a customer and returning their tip? Alright, folks, this is the one. It's gonna be fun. I'm a 23-year-old female and I work in a small town bar and grill. It's a fairly large establishment for a town of 1,000 and can seat a roughly 200 people. We had only 3 servers for a Saturday night, meaning 1 server per section. This section I was responsible for was seating 52 people, 8 tables in total, while also handling the bars, seats 20, and go orders, typically 1 order every 5 to 10 minutes outside of our assigned 40 plus customers, each to care for. As you can see, things kind of expect to fall behind a little bit. I had a group of younger friends come in together and asked if they could sit at a different table. I kindly explained to them that I would be happy to move them. However, with people still waiting to order food and needing drinks, it would be another 20 minutes before I could bus and sanitize the table to swap them. 5 minutes later, they switched to a dirty table anyways. I was unaware until another table of mine that had stayed behind to chat handed me a 20 and said, "I overheard your conversation with the other customer. They have moved and I don't think they'll tip." I thanked the man and quickly resumed my task. After catching up roughly 15 minutes later, I went to their table, cleaned everything off, and took their order. One of the ladies looked at me and screamed and asked, "What is wrong with me?" I kindly reiterated that I explained before, due to my current task list for those already waiting and will only have a total of 3 servers in the restaurant. I was in fact serious when I said it would take me close to 20 minutes to clear out a new table for them, and by them moving, I now gained another table in my section that further set me back. Imagine that. The woman then proceeded to say, "If you can't handle your job," with air quotes, "then maybe get a new one." When she paid her tab, she rounded it up to the next dollar, leaving me with a tip of 48 cents total on a $140 bill. I returned her change, look her in the eyes, and I say, "Clearly you need this more than I do. I hope that life gets better for you." She screamed at me and called me a B, and yelling to fellow patrons at the bar seats, saying that she will never return because of me. After the adrenaline wore down, I began to feel if my emotions got the best of me, and I probably could have handled the situation better. She never called the restaurant to complain or anything, but I did tell my manager and my boss, who is the owner, about the situation. They just laughed and said I have faced no repercussions. Outside point of view and advice is appreciated. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
You know, OP, I would be hard pressed to blame you on this one. You, like, maybe it was a tad bit insulting, but the thing is that she didn't listen to instructions. Then she gets mad at you for basically trying to do your job, and this was just completely unreasonable. I don't think you're a jerk. People who treat servers like this really deserve never to go to the restaurant again, so I don't think you've lost out on anything, right? If she never comes to that restaurant again, she'll be doing everyone in that establishment a favor, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So no, OP, you're not a jerk. You don't want these kinds of customers in your store. They are not worth the trouble. Not the jerk, you handled it perfectly. She wanted to humiliate you and make you feel small, but instead you flipped the script and made her look petty while being very polite and calm. That's why she was so angry. I love the line of, "Clearly you need this more than I do. I hope life gets better for you. You are awesome." And OP says, "They were just miserable the entire time that I was there. Just remember feeling frustrated and my intrusive thoughts won that round." It's sometimes, when you have people who are that rude, it is sometimes really difficult to keep your mouth shut, I think you came up with a smart response, and I don't think I would regret it if I were you, OP. All right, folks, it is tea time. Tea time. What type of tea do you have today, Amber?
I have mint tea.
I have a tea as well. I will let you guess what kind of tea we got today. A lot of great beverages were listed the last couple of days, like coffee and the American Eagle, Golden Eagle rather, from June. And then some hot chocolate and like this Dunkin' Donuts coffee that sounded like amazing. It was like pancake, one from Morgan. And yeah, it was just amazing drinks. So keep telling me your drinks. I love hearing about them. They sound absolutely delicious. So yeah. What has wings, is out of its mind, and sits in trees? A raven lunatic. Can you believe that? That's great. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness, that was a good bad joke. A Raven Lunatic. Oh, that book. That book just hits the spot, right? And I have licorice spice today. Amber's like, oh my goodness, what is wrong with that book? She's just over there shaking her head. She's not really shaking her head, but I'm envisioning that she's shaking her head.
Trying to fit me into your narrative.
Yeah, I need to write this narrative to make sure that my story is told. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Nephew the Truth and Not Giving My Brother a Chance? My nephew Jamie is a 17-year-old male and he's in trouble with his dad, my brother, and stepmom because he locked himself in his room and left his stepsisters, 13 through 9, alone even though he was supposed to watch them, or 13 and 9. He is currently not allowed to drive his car unless his sisters want to go somewhere, hang out with friends, and my brother even took some of his things, clothes and jewelry that his mother had made. Some background info. Jamie's mother used to design clothes and make jewelry ever since she was a teenager. It wasn't her job, but a hobby, and she honestly made some pretty neat stuff. After she passed, Jamie took those things and even wears the jewelry. He wears some of the clothes, but most of them are for women and girls, and he's too tall for them. When I asked my brother why in the world he took those things, he said that his wife says it'll make him understand the consequences better or something. I don't know. He also said that he'd give the things back after his punishment is over. Well, anyways, my brother told me that his wife gave away most of the things to family and friends. Some of the things were completely ruined by the girls. What is wrong with them? When does giving someone's possessions away become right like this? Like this was stuff from his deceased mom. This is irreplaceable heirloom type stuff. This was completely uncalled for. That is not how you punish someone. That's how you alienate someone and make them never want to see you again. Honestly, I freaked out. Jamie adores his mother's creations, and now he has nothing but maybe 2 rings and a necklace. Almost 20 years worth of things gone in a month. I was horrified and heartbroken. My brother basically called me because Jamie had been asking about the things and he wanted them back, and he doesn't know what to do. I told him to F off, and I texted Jamie immediately and informed him of what happened. He was upset but thankful. About 2 hours later, my brother showed up at my house. He was in tears and asked me why I did that. Because it was the right thing to do. Why did you tell the truth? Why? Why would you tell the truth? It made me look so bad. I don't understand how you could possibly tell the truth on me. He said that I didn't even warn him, and now he's afraid that he won't be able to fix his relationship with Jamie. Well, you weren't going to be able to fix it before. Like, this, why he's come to you, OP, is because he wanted to control the narrative, and now he doesn't have the opportunity to control that narrative. He was going to gaslight and manipulate your nephew, and that's what this boils down to. He didn't have any honest intentions here. He wanted to flip this, turn it in a way that made him look like this wasn't his fault, even though it is. He called me to help me make things right, and I didn't even give him a chance to fix it. I told him that Jamie not talking to him was his own fault, and he said that wasn't the point. He insisted that I should have helped him get the things back, and called me a B and a jerk, and says that he hopes that I'm happy now. I don't think that I'm the jerk, because if they were my things, I would want to know. Jamie even said that he appreciated it. And again, my brother honestly deserves this, but I do see his point, and his wife and our parents think that I'm in the wrong as well. Well, they are wrong.
Yeah.
Edit, my brother and his wife are obviously jerks for the whole situation. No one's questioning that, and what I'm asking is if I'm the jerk for telling my nephews what happened without giving my brother a chance to fix or explain and fix things. Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
So I think that I've already made all the points that I wanted to make, and I think that this does not make you the jerk, OP. You told the truth. He needed to know the truth in this situation, and you did him a favor by telling him that truth. I don't think you did anything wrong, and I don't think you should have a guilty conscience about this, because everyone else who's trying to tell you that, oh, you've made a mistake by not letting him, work on this or fix it, don't understand that he is just trying to flip this so that he's not the bad person, right? So I don't think you were a jerk here. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. First of all, Jamie is 17, not 7. He absolutely has the right to know what's going on. Second, I absolutely hate the idea of parents forcing their older children to care for the younger ones. Take care of your own kids. Giving his late mother's stuff away is the evil stepmother in movies type stuff. That's not right. If it were me, I would offer to hold on to what's left until he moves out so it doesn't happen again. Your brother needs to accept the consequences of his own behavior. If he believes his kid had to do that to that extent, he has no right to say that he shouldn't have had to deal with them. Yeah, and OP replies, no, because I had to take a few minutes to process everything when my brother told me what happened because it was honestly such a cruel thing to do. I thought he was joking at first because what the actual F? Who does that? I still haven't gotten a clear answer as to why she just gave those things away. She gave them away because she's mean and petty and spiteful. That's why. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.